Season 3 got off to a decent start at Mercedes, considering we had a rubbish car at the start of the year. So with the third and fourth in Australia, let's try and build on that in Japan. Hello folks, welcome back to Mercedes. I've got the Japanese Grand Prix coming up for you today, and we got the season off and running in Australia with a third and fourth place finish. Now, this is the second race that I'm coming to you in post-commentary because of technical issues with my microphone, in the fact that it just wasn't connected within the OBS recording software. So you can see I'm talking through this on the screen, but actually that's not me talking right now. So third and fourth in Australia. And we've also been putting more developments in place. New suspension and new underfloor on the way. We've also added a new front wing and rear wing. As you can see, I'm going through that now. So that hopefully will bring us a little bit further up the order and able to challenge Red Bull. So we need top speed and high speed cornering in Suzuka. 7th for top speed. We are now first though for high-speed cornering. And jumping straight into Q3 then, no qualms about getting through the first two parts of qualifying this time around, and we're having a look at our first laps. George Russell was momentarily fastest in the first sector. I think that would be Charles Leclerc, it is, who's just set that benchmark. Russell actually getting a bit of a tow here off of his teammate Hamilton and doing a good job. He goes to the top of the times. Hamilton though slower than Sainz, half a second off of his teammate. So we cut to the final run in Q3, second run. Here's George Russell, a personal best in the first sector, as does Lewis Hamilton. We are following a Ferrari, which is Carlos Sainz. Sergio Perez, I believe, actually gets knocked out in Q1 in this. It's not made the edit, but I think he got eliminated in Q1. Sector 2 times coming up, and that's a Lance Stroll. What's he doing? He's completely in the way. He's now blocking Hamilton. Lance Stroll has just ruined our qualifying. No improvements. Verstappen has hung on to pole position, but Lance Stroll, go in the garage, you naughty boy. You've absolutely wrecked our qualifying at Mercedes. We are absolutely marching down there and removing that power unit from your car. I am furious. George Russell is second, but Lewis Hamilton's ended up behind a Ferrari, a Haas, and an Alpine of Gasly. Just Stroll has ruined our session there, our Q3 at least. Lewis Hamilton's got a recovery job to do, and he's going to have to do it in the rain. Heavy rain predicted for the Grand Prix, and I'm just going to fast forward here through the strategy. You can see at the top of the screen, it looks like the rain's going to be somewhere in the middle of the race. It's going to be a dry start and a dry finish. So I'm just assessing whether a double inters stint is the way to go. It's not. So it's soft inters soft. And we go to the grid then for 5 red lights to get the Japanese underway. The lights are out, the race is on. Can George Russell leap ahead of Max Verstappen? We've underfueled both cars to make early progress, and there's George Russell wheel to wheel with Max Verstappen and taking the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. That's also a Max Verstappen in the Red Bull on medium tyres. Why is he on mediums? The rain's coming. What are Red Bull doing? That is silly. They've got Leclerc on softs. I believe everybody else is on softs, and Lando Norris is on mediums as well. The mediums are just not going to work because they're not fast enough. And by the time they are faster than softs, it will already be raining. There's Carlos Sainz diving up the inside of a Haas. Lewis Hamilton, still in 7th position, needs to make some progress, but he's stuck behind Kevin Magnussen's Haas for the second race in a row. Remember, he got held up in Australia, and it cost him a bit of time to Perez. Everyone blocking each other through the entry to 130R and into the Casio Triangle chicane for the first time. And no improvement on that lap from Lewis Hamilton in terms of position. But we cut to lap 3. George Russell still leads. He's opened up a nearly 2-second gap to Max Verstappen ahead. But here's Lewis Hamilton, and he's finally going to make some progress. Magnussen makes it difficult, squeezes him as close to the pit wall as he's allowed. Hamilton sweeps on by. And he soon catches the battle of Gasly and Sainz ahead. We've had a collision as well involving Albon and Stroll. Here's Lewis Hamilton having a look on the inside of 130R. Did he make it? Did he ever? That is a superb overtake from Lewis Hamilton. And he'll get DRS on the Alpine. Looks like he'll go through, but let's take a look at this. This was superb. I know they say the corner's not as hard anymore, but it still takes some bottle to do that, and especially with two cars around you. Any mistake, and that is ending up in the barriers. Hamilton gains 2 places in a few hundred metres, and that has transformed his race. He's just 2 seconds behind Leclerc now, and there's a chance now of a 1-2 in this race, especially with the Red Bulls squabbling. Verstappen's pace hasn't been good. Russell's now nearly 5 seconds clear at the end of lap 7, and Hamilton has caught this pair having started 7th. Red Bull have not played a very good hand early on here. We've still got a few laps until the rain comes, but Hamilton is now right in the hunt for 2nd place as Russell just continues to disappear. Our pace is being helped by the fact that we're underfueled, but we're going to be conserving fuel through the wet period. And obviously because you go slower when it rains, you save fuel. We just simply use less. So that was my thinking for that. And as we get to lap 10, Hamilton's having a look here with DRS still. The rain hasn't quite arrived. Is he going past the Red Bull? He's just having a look. Still having a look around the outside of Leclerc. Can he make it through into the S's? This would be another superb overtake by Lewis Hamilton. He's done it. It looks like, yes, he has got that move done. Brilliant from the 7-time world champion. Moving himself through the order. He's now 3rd behind Verstappen, who started on pole position. And we're on lap 10. This isn't like a few laps from the end. This is 10 laps into the race. And now we're conserving fuel. We're absolutely in for a 1-2 here, I think. Now, Russell has opened up 6 seconds of lead. And then on lap 11, the following lap, the rain begins to arrive. And it's a bit variable in the game. Sometimes it rains really hard, really quickly. But as you can see here, it actually is going to get wet pretty rapidly. So looking on the right-hand side, it's at 0.3 of a millimetre, or 0.3 of a centimetre now. So we need to consider the stop. It's actually going up very, very quickly. Need to consider pitting for Russell, and we're going to box him now for inters. It's not quite ready for intermediates, and we're going to put Hamilton onto some inters as well. If the AI don't follow us in, it could be a win, but they do. So that was absolutely the moment to pit. We're not going to have another repeat of Zandvoort last year where we waited a lap too long and got caught out. No traffic issues in the pit lane, and we resume in exactly the same order as we entered for the top 4. So it's Russell leading Verstappen, Hamilton, and then Leclerc. Everybody else pitted on that lap as well. And the rain continued to fall. And normally not much happens during a rain period, but Hamilton's actually had other ideas and decides he wants to catch Verstappen and put him under a bit of pressure. Can he make the move here into turn 1? We're not pushing with the tyres. Hamilton's just a bit quicker at the moment, and he was even more underfueled than Russell, so he's got more fuel to recover, as you can see by the tables on the screen. And having a look here at the water level on track a lap later, the track's actually dried out, which means, weirdly enough, we get DRS. So I think we were just inside 1 second that time around. In fact, it's the following lap now. We're within DRS range of the Red Bull. There you go. You can see it on the right-hand side of the screen. DRS is lit up in green, which means we have it. But we weren't close enough to make the move stick. So I'm going to push a little bit more with Lewis. See if we can In fact, I'm going to conserve fuel there. I thought we were going to push for a minute, but we're still hustling the Dutchman. Leclerc is just being left behind. He's now nearly 6 seconds adrift. There's a yellow flag. I'm not sure who that was for. Maybe just someone running wide. It was Pourchaire with a lock-up. No, we actually start to drop back here from Verstappen. So moving to lap 30. And Verstappen has actually started to close the gap. So looking at the weather as well, I believe here. There we go. The dry period has actually moved forward. So where I switched to softs was about the time for slicks. But you can see Verstappen, in the time that I've been doing that, has made up nearly 2 seconds on Russell. And we're now under pressure for the lead. Hamilton's 4 seconds behind. And Russell having to defend really hard at basically every part of the lap to protect his position. But at the moment, no DRS. We're over 1 millimetre of rain. And as we reach lap 35, we have to consider changing the strategy. So I'm looking at a set of mediums here to go to the end. My concern was whether the softs would wear out too quickly. So I decided that being prudent and giving ourselves sort of longevity on the tyres, at least for Russell, I'd go mediums. But Hamilton, I needed him to try and make up some ground and put Verstappen under pressure. So I kept him on a set of softs. And as you can see, that's Liam Lawson exiting the pit lane on softs. So my response is to put George Russell onto a set of soft tyres. And here's the lap where we bring them in. In comes Verstappen following George Russell. And the problem here is our pit crew aren't particularly fast. The Red Bull pit crew are. And why are they putting on mediums? I specifically requested softs. There goes Max Verstappen as well, just to compound it. So not only are we now behind, we're on slower tyres. Why has it done that? You saw me put softs on the car, but now we've ended up with mediums. But now they've changed to softs. What's going on? Anyway, 15 laps to go. And a crucial bit of information is that Verstappen put on a used set of soft tyres, which would also explain why he started on mediums. We're still needing to save fuel, and with 10 laps to go, you can see there on the left-hand side, we're in a better state with tyres. Verstappen's tyres will fall off at some point, I'm sure, and allow us to close up. Leclerc is using his tyres a lot more heavily than we are, but even with 8 laps to go, we're still 2 seconds behind the Dutchman. Hamilton is 6 seconds behind his teammate. So we pushed, we attacked, and we did get into DRS range. Although this time around we didn't actually get it. 4 laps to go, we finally got inside 1 second. And there's, I think that's an Alfa Romeo in the way, which we both navigated, but it did hold up Verstappen enough for us to be in a position to pounce. So, end of lap 50, we're preparing this overtake. We're going to drive in clean air, high overtake aggression, we're deploying. I think we're just aggressive on the tyres, we've saved enough fuel, and this is the moment that George Russell takes the lead back from Max Verstappen. Having lost it through the pit stops, we're now back in the lead. And George Russell looks set for his first victory as the reigning world champion. Verstappen doesn't quite fall out of DRS range here, but 0.8 of a second, I don't think he's close enough to make the difference, although that looks very close, and that looks like an overtake for Max Verstappen on lap 52. So the win definitely wasn't sealed, and now we're second again. So we're going to harvest some energy into this braking zone at the hairpin to make sure we've got plenty to use in deployment on the pit straight. And basically, I'm turning everything up here. We're going for it on the fuel. We're going to deploy down the pit straight. We are basically pushing Verstappen through 130R at this point. Deploy, driving clean air. We're still on high overtake aggression. Right. Verstappen, how hard are you going to defend this? He takes the middle of the road, but Russell's basically passed him already and takes the lead on the final lap. You can see my fist pump of celebration there. It's not quite the same commentating after the fact. But George Russell has the lead on the final lap. Now we just need to make sure that his fuel goes back into the green. And there it goes. A kilo of fuel left. And Verstappen's tyres have completely given up. He's fallen outside of 1 second to us now. And that will seal the victory for us and get George Russell's title defence well and truly kick-started. Verstappen will still hold the lead in the World Championship because he won the first race. But for George Russell and for the team at Mercedes, this is a crucial win. We're winning in the second race of the season. It took us 5 races maybe even, to win last year. But George Russell wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton comes home in third. A great result for the Mercedes team. Red Bull well and truly beaten in this race. We out-strategized them. They got a bit fortunate with the pit stop, but we had the pace to turn it around. George Russell back on the top step of the podium. Lewis Hamilton looking fairly pleased with his third place. Verstappen not looking too chuffed about being second. And here we go then. For the first time in Season 3 in 2025, Mercedes' favourite thing, confetti and champagne. Celebrations down in the pit lane, although they seem to be dancing through the pit lane machines. What was going on there? Why are you hugging it? That was strange. Anyway, George Russell victorious in Japan. I believe he's finished second there the last 2 years, or did we win in Japan last year? I can't remember right now. I think we might have finished second last year. So finally we've beaten Red Bull in Suzuka. Esteban Ocon there finishing 6th. Sergio Perez coming up 8 places to finish 9th. Jack Doohan actually falling down 7 positions from his top 10 grid slot. So the gap at the top of the table in the drivers is just 4 points already at this early stage of this season. Lewis Hamilton is a little bit further back, but he's definitely not out of the question. A couple of wins and he could easily be leading the championship. Constructors wise, we are just 7 points behind, having outscored Red Bull by 9 points in Japan. So we head to the next round in Singapore in buoyant mood, and bear in mind there are extra points on offer in Singapore because it's a sprint race. So a fantastic victory for George Russell in round 2. Can we take that form onto the sprint weekend in Singapore? Remember, we didn't win a sprint race until the final round of sprint weekends in Season 2, which was in Las Vegas. So if we can get off to a winning start in that respect, we can easily be leading both championships before the Grand Prix. Make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on this video. Leave a comment in the comment section down below as well. Tell me how much you're enjoying Season 3 so far. I'll see you in the next episode in Singapore, but until then, goodbye for now.